Well, I was going to come back and do another hour, but you don't know what happens during the break. You know, Carla told me how bad I stink. Man, that was mean. That was mean. I like onions. My God. Well, she said it smells like onions in here. That must be me. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning. Let's just say this. We're up to 395 murders. We want to keep our priorities straight in this country. 395 murders for the year in Chicago. And somebody said the other day they had, the 23rd, there were 4 murdered. All right. The 19th, did something happen on the 7th and the 19th in Chicago that no one was murdered? So, thought I would bring that up. Okay, Jeff Sessions. Should he stay or should he go, folks? Now, MSNBC this morning, that's the only thing. I should put my picture of Jeff Sessions up there. Jeff Sessions, this is from the McClatchy report. And Trump messes with Sessions and Senate Republicans are not pleased. President Donald Trump is getting a bitter Washington lesson when he messes with Jeff Sessions. You don't pick a fight with one of the Senate guys. Trump said he would go to D.C. and drain the swamp. Trump told the American people that he would appoint a special prosecutor to look into Hillary Clinton's emails. Trump would not have appointed Jeff Sessions if he was going to recuse himself from the Russian investigation. Now, my question to you is very simple, and we will move on. Do you believe the Russian investigation is a witch hunt? Do you believe it's orchestrated, it's a setup, and that some people are complicit in it? They're joining right in, and they happen to be Republicans. If you think that, raise your hand. That would be me. So do you think Jeff Sessions should have recused himself from something like this? No, I don't. And Trump said very simply, look, if you are going to do that, I was looking for an attorney general that would actually rule of law. Now, how many times do you hear rule of law? And it's actually laughable every time you hear one of them say concerning this, the rule of law. Democrats, really? It's a lesson that could cost him politically in the Senate, where he badly needs Republican support for his lengthy agenda, starting with health care on Tuesday. Folks, you are totally wrong. He needs their support. But he needs their support to get something done that he promised the American people. And then what he also promised the American people, and Republicans better remember this, he promised the American people that he would drain the swamp. Okay? Now you want to look at 40,000 Boy Scouts there, the Boy Scouts of America? Okay? Let's go back to Alabama. Let's go back to Michigan, Let's go back to Wisconsin rallies. Let's go back to Michigan. Remember Michigan? Was it 15,000, whatever, on election day at 1 o'clock in the morning on election day that were waiting there? He promised to look into Hillary Clinton. The 33,000 emails. They're upset because he said, hey, we can't get our attorney general, we can't get our senators, we can't get our congressmen, we can't get our Justice Department, we can't get all these committees. Do you realize how many committees you have in Washington, D.C. that investigate this and that? That's all they do all day, set up committees, all right? And they got people run in and powder their nose because they're on TV. Oh, seriously, okay? That's all they have. Every day, these committees. And he can't get anyone. Now, in fairness to Trey Gowdy and, some of the things that Trey Gowdy has done, And Trey Gowdy is the one that day I told you that Comey had to go, and Trey Gowdy ended his career that day in the questioning. We know that. Was it July 5th? On July 5th, the day after the 4th, when Comey came out and gave his press conference, his career was over. We know that. So you got to understand, if Republicans think, and I want you to listen close, if Republicans think they're going to go home and they're going to say, well, we got even with Donald Trump because he is unhappy with Jeff Sessions, because Jeff Sessions has not moved forward with investigating Hillary Clinton, and Jeff Sessions recused himself in the Russian witch hunt. I'm sorry, Republicans, that will not sell in your backyard. You see, as silly as you may think, those 40,000 kids last night in West Virginia, okay? Might call them kids, might say, oh, they don't vote. Those 40,000 kids, all right? Your witch hunt is not playing with any of the American people. It's not playing. It's a lie in these media accounts from the Washington Post. It's not playing. Okay? I understand it's a lesson that could cost him politically. Okay? He needs Republicans' support. No, Republicans need his support. I'm telling you right now, every poll, and this is not the direction I plan to go in, but every poll that comes out, no matter how dismal they make it look, no matter every one of the left they tell you, okay, it's the lowest approval ratings at this point in a presidency. Historically, it's historical lows, all of the things they say to you, okay? They always end with his base is solid. You're talking about a base, let's call it 36%, right? We'll call it 36 solid. Republicans, you better hope that 36% goes to vote for you, or you better hope that 36% you don't get like 2 or 3 primary challengers and somebody gets that 36%. Because I'm telling you right now, Donald Trump does not need the Republicans as much as the Republicans need Donald Trump, because the American people want the RNC out of the White House. Okay? I don't understand it. There's no more honorable person I've ever met in my life than Jeff Sessions, says Senator Jeff Inhofe, Republican of Oklahoma, a close friend of Sessions and his wife. The only person who is more upset with Trump about this than me is my wife. Okay? Sessions spent 20 years in the Senate, winning a reputation. Let's see, party loyalty. He understood the doggedly practiced the code of what's been called the world's most exclusive club. You can disagree without being disagreeable, but you protect the institution and its members. Okay? Trump clearly doesn't play by these rules. Donald Trump did not get elected, folks, to be president of the United States to protect the institution and its members, okay? Period. Didn't do it. Jeff Sessions, if he would have known you were going to recuse yourself, he would not have appointed you. So there's Jeff Sessions, okay? Pull up MSNBC, Minka and Joe. This is the way the media started today. Okay? I should have had that pulled up myself. You got it. You got it there. Okay, maybe one day this picture will come up. This computer, I don't know. I hope I'm not having a problem with talked about that before. Jeff Sessions should have stood firm on the Russian. It's Morning Joe every day. Joe Scarborough told the president, you know, that his show is driving him crazy, and told him maybe he should stop watching. And just bear with me, folks. I apologize. Hopefully, this picture will come up. There it is. Is Jeff Sessions on thin ice with the president? See, the left, they're nervous. They are a nervous wreck because if Sessions goes, all right, if Jeff Sessions goes, what could happen? Who will do what? Let's go to, give me the one that says Trump is crazy. I got MSNBC, Joe, Trump is crazy. Okay? This is Trump targets FBI director in new tweet. He's crazy, they're saying. Okay? We read that one earlier. Now go to Sessions on thin ice, MSNBC. Okay, this is a picture of Anthony Scaramucci. Is Jeff Sessions, these are the captions, the reason I clipped these, is Jeff Sessions on thin ice with the president? Folks, how many times have you heard me say, go to Robert Mueller? How many times have you heard me say, Mueller must go? Must go. I have had so many people tell me that that would be such an uproar. But I'm telling you now, Mueller must go. He cannot stay. Sam, I've got a video of Clapper and Brennan at the, and I told you to put it at the 40-some minute mark. Do you have that? All right, this is the, before you play that, let me just say this. This is the Aspen, what is this called? What is this thing called? The Aspen security meeting or something like that. Hold on, I want to find it first. All right, I watched this 40 minutes, but we've went to the area. I had it here earlier. Just a minute. Hold on. Well, anyhow, you'll see. This is Brennan. Now I say Mueller has to go, and Sessions was told. Trump is not tweeting out in public anything. Don't think he's tweeting anything that Jeff Sessions has not heard in private. Okay, but Trump's not interested in protecting the institution or its members. Listen to Clapper and Brennan and what they say about this. Oh, these are some guys you can trust. Go to that and go to the time I put it up.
I think when they see what's happening now in the United States here, that we become, so consumed, obviously, with this issue about what the interference was in the election and how it's making our system of government, in some respects, dysfunctional because we can't pass legislation, we can't do other things. I think Mr. Putin probably is crowing that it had an effect on this country that is hurting us, which only accrues to their benefit.
I raised the question because Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic leader in the House, a member of what we call the Gang of Eight, who's briefed on the most sensitive intelligence and information, she said this, and it really, startled me. She asked this question: what do the Russians have on Donald Trump politically, personally, or financially?
Well, hopefully, Special Counsel Mueller will get to the bottom of that.
Yes, I agree. I would like to think that we all Americans want to get this behind us because it is hurting us. I'd like to think that Mr. Trump and other people in the White House would like to get this behind us. The best way to do that is to have as much transparency as possible. If there's nothing to hide there, then they should cooperate fully and in an accelerated fashion with the special counsel and others. But I think time after time after time, one only comes away with the impression that there is a resistance to having more information come out. And that just feeds suspicions. And I do think, I'm hoping that this is going to be addressed sooner rather than later in terms of what is there. If there's nothing there, let's move on. But this is where the work of Robert Mueller is critical to our future as a country, because in some respects, we're a government and a nation in crisis right now.
You have confidence in this special counsel?
Absolutely.
You both worked with him for a long time when he was head of the FBI.
Absolutely. That was an inspired choice.
They don't come any better.
And nobody better than Bob Mueller, who is a straight shooter and will not be intimidated by anything.
And if he's fired by Mr. Trump, or attempted to be fired by Mr. Trump, I really hope that our members of Congress, our elected representatives, are going to stand up and say enough is enough, and stop making apologies and excuses for things that are happening that really flout, I think, our system of laws and government here.
When you say enough is enough, if he's fired, and he's the President of the United States, he could tell Rosenstein to fire him if he wants. But if he's fired, what would you want Congress to do?
First of all, I think it's the obligation of some executive branch officials to refuse to carry out some of these orders that, again, are inconsistent with what this country is all about. I would just hope that this is not going to be a partisan issue, that Republicans and Democrats are going to see that the future of this country is at stake, and there needs to be some things done for the good of the future.
We have a limited amount of time, we're going to have some questions from the audience as well, but let's get through a few other issues right now. When you were Director of National Intelligence, what kept you up at night the most? What did you worry about?
I don't care what keeps him up at night. I don't care what keeps him up at night. I could care less about Brennan and Clapper. Absolutely, right? Absolutely, folks. Now, I have taken the heat. Jane, on the All-Star panel, I will say the heat, but she says, he can't just fire Mueller. There'll be an uproar. I stand today and tell you, I said right here, look at this camera, Mr. President, when they tell you Republicans and Democrats see this country is at stake, what we have known for years, the American people, that there's very few of them there that there's any difference in whatsoever, and that we're tired of it, and we sent you to drain the swamp. And we don't care whose name it is. We don't care if it's somebody that we have to hear. If we have to hear that it is somebody that is protects the institution and the members over the people of this country, and if that does turn out to be Jeff Sessions, he's got to go. We sent you for a reason. Period. Okay. The Putin is crowing. Putin would not be crowing if our media and the left, the obstruction in this country, if they were not doing this 7 days a week, then what would Putin have to crow about? This is the Democrats. This is not the Russians. I don't have any Russian whiskey, and I don't have any Russian friends, and I don't have any, whatever. Don't have it. If it's Russian, I won't even have Russian dressing in the refrigerator. I don't know. It sounds silly, but seriously? But I have to tell you, this is not the Russians that are calling these hearings on a daily basis. This is not the Russians that have this suspicion. Wolf Blitzer, you can trust him. Nancy Pelosi made a comment that really scared Wolf Blitzer. What do the Russians have on Donald Trump? We want to all get this behind us, Brendan. A special counsel. These suspicions, okay? Robert Mueller, a nation in crisis. A government and a nation in crisis, okay? Absolutely, I support Mueller. Absolutely. No one better. He's a straight shooter. Let me tell you something. If you're asking me if we will have a crisis in this country if Donald Trump tells Jeff Sessions to resign and we actually look into Hillary Clinton and we fire Robert Mueller, will we have a crisis? too late, folks. You have a crisis now. You have a group of people trying to destroy this country as we speak. Mueller's not been fired, okay? Sessions has not been fired. There's been nobody looking into, in any real depth, anything on the DNC. How come Mueller has not? There's no leaks in the Washington Post. There's no leaks in the New York Times where Democrat investigations. None. No leaks at all. Everything's about Russia and the Republicans. But there's absolutely no leaks where there's an investigation concerning Hillary, Uma Abedin, Chelsea, George Soros, John Podesta, Donna Brazile. Nothing. You never see a leak there. Let me tell you something. When you have John Brennan and Clapper sitting up there, and you hear Robert Mueller, and you say, absolutely no one better, straight shooter, that is enough for me. He has to go, okay? Enough is enough. Congress needs to stand up. Folks, you know, it's a shame that we have people in this country. I was somewhere the other night and I heard a question and I was thinking, has anybody even thought once about reading the Constitution? Have you just looked through here one time? Does anybody out there, I know many of you do, but are these people, the separation of powers between judicial, legislative, and executive order? And he actually told Congress to stand up against the executive powers that the President of the United States has. Really? Refuse to carry out the orders. Can you believe that National Security Advisor, did you believe that the former CIA, head of the CIA, can you believe these guys sit there and they would actually uphold, refuse, Congress needs to refuse to carry out the orders. Republicans and Dems will see the country is at stake. I'm your host, BKP. It's 9:27. I'm going to take a break and we'll come right back. Hey, what we don't want to see happen is good senators that have been in Washington, D.C. for 20 years lose their job that are dedicated to the institution and its members. Take us a break, Sam.